Hi friends, welcome back. It's another Tuesday with Nye. Last week, I told you I was going to show you how I added the bishop sleeves from the cuddle top to my cold shoulder top, which was so cute. And I'll put the video up here so you can see it because I loved it. And I literally wore it that exact day that I made it because it's my favorite right now. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to edit your pattern for your cold shoulder top with your bishop sleeves from the cuddle tunic. And if you want to see how I do it, then you got to hang around. I'm Nye with Ellie and Mac. See you in a second. So what you're going to need in order to change your cold shoulder sleeve to your bishop sleeve is first to print out the two sleeve versions in your size. I have here the cold shoulder sleeve and the bishop sleeve. Now you'll notice firstly that the cold shoulder sleeve is a cut on fold sleeve while the bishop sleeve is not. So the first thing you need to do is make the cold shoulder sleeve into a piece that is not folded. So what you do is get you a piece of paper and a marker. It is time. So I have my little pattern weights here, which are not super effective without the magnet board underneath, but we'll go ahead and pretend that it is, and I'll use my phone here too, because what good is a phone if it doesn't do lots of things, right? My phone doesn't only do TikTok, it also does pattern weighting. And for just no, I'm just kidding. So you want to trace your half pattern first. You can use any kind of paper. Sometimes I used gift paper, gift wrap, because it's really cheap at the dollar store, or I use one of those really large pieces of tissue paper because tissue paper is also super affordable. But here I'm using my daughter's art paper because she's at school and nobody's going to tell on me. Okay, so I drew the whole piece and now I'm going to mirror it by flipping it over. Putting it on the line there and drawing another side. So you're actually drawing two of the same pattern piece, but you're butting them up against the fold line. So that way, when you draw it, it will technically be one pattern piece. It makes it easier to compare to the other pattern piece, which is also one pattern piece. So draw all the way down here. My drawing is bad, y'all. Okay, so now I have it all traced out, and this paper is about to drive me insane because it rolls up and I want to punch it in the face. But I can't punch it in the face because it doesn't have a face. So I'll have to draw it. I'll have to draw a smiley face and then punch my paper. It's the only way. So you want to make sure that after you trace it, you look on your pattern piece because you want to make sure you have any markings that are necessary. And there's a marking right here. This is going to be for your binding. So you want to make sure that you mark that because when you redo your pieces, you're going to need that marking. So I'll go ahead and put a little star right here, a little star right there because I'm super artsy. All right. We don't need this no more. Woohoo! I'm going to have to clean that up later. I look like my teenager when I do that. I tell her, you need to clean your room. And she's like, ah. Anybody who's a mom knows what that noise means. Kids. Anyhow, I go ahead and cut through here. She's a lovely teenager, but, you know, teenagers will be teenagers. And so there it is. I'm going to cut that out. Work with me. Okay. Ooh. This paper is working my nerves. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now I have my cold shoulder top. I'm going to roll it and see if it stays flat for me. Bah, maybe not. Here, let's try this. Okay. Now I have my cold shoulder top. Oh. Now I have my cold shoulder sleeve here. And what I do is I take my bishop sleeve pattern piece and I put it down on my table. Now I'm going to do the same thing because I want to use this for my bishop pattern. I don't want to cut it up. So I'm going to trace the bishop sleeve as well. You'll notice that you have a back and a front on your bishop sleeve pattern. You don't need to mark these off because the top of this pattern is not going to have a sleeve cap. So you're going to be copying the points that are on your other sleeve piece. So you really don't need to mark these. What you do need to mark is the very center of that cap, because when you cut this off, the very center is where you're going to line up your other pattern piece to make sure that your sleeve cap isn't all wonky and weird and bajiggity. Those are all words in the dictionary. And maybe they're not.
Listen, you can check if you want to, or we can make these sleeves. What you want to do?
Okay, so then I take my cuddle sleeve and I hold it up against, or not my cuddle sleeve. Then I take my cold shoulder sleeve and I hold it against my cuddle sleeve. Now what I want to do is I want to line up the middle of this pattern here, because it's the middle of the pattern I'm going to put the sleeve on. And I'm going to line it up with the middle of this bishop sleeve. Okay, so if I line this up all the way down the middle, I know that my sleeves are going to be relatively even. So I want to make sure I line that up too. And I want to check out where the arm C here is and here, because that's going to change. We're not adding the cold shoulder sleeve to the cuddle tunic, so we don't need to match the cuddle tunic marks to the cold shoulder sleeve. But what we do want is to match the cold shoulder sleeves up as much as we can with the cuddle sleeve. So I try to get it centered on there, but I realized the curve on the bishop sleeve is really different than the curve on the cold shoulder. So I really just make sure that it's centered and I trace right over it. Okay, so this is now centered on the sleeve, so I know that I am getting the center of that bishop sleeve to line up with the center of my cold shoulder sleeve. Now, if you look right here, you'll see that there's a difference between this sleeve and this sleeve. So you want to blend that in, right? This is a sleeve that I'm going to be cutting out, and I want to blend it into this sleeve. This is a very huge difference in width between the two sleeves. So I want to kind of curve it in so that it blends nicely up into the arm seam. Now, generally, you would use some type of curvature ruler, but I'm just going to eyeball it because I don't have a curvature ruler. So here, I have this line here and this line here. This part I want to stay the same because the bottom of the sleeves is the most important part, but I want it to come up here evenly. So what I do is I start down here. No, I don't have my ruler. Okay, so what I do is I start down here and I kind of move that line in. I'm going to move so you can see. So I start down here towards like just a couple inches down from the arm C curve right here, and I kind of blend it in like that, right? So just a nice gentle slope all the way up to the arm C. And I do the same thing here. I start about the same distance here, right? And I just gently curve it up so that it matches the arm point here, right? All right, I'll go ahead and put the picture up so that you can see it. And that's essentially all you have to do to recreate that sleeve for this pattern. Now, you might want to hold on to your sleeve pattern, your original sleeve pattern, because you may want to have those instead of the bishop sleeve. But essentially, that's how you're going to do it. You're just blending it in so that you have the same arm seam where you're going to sew, and then you just cut it out. Well, I don't have to cut it out. Y'all know how to cut things. If not, then we're in the wrong class. Okay, so you just want to now, oh my goodness, Naisa. So now you just want to cut it out. So you just cut along the lines, especially where you blended here and here, making sure that you cut out the points of your cold shoulder top. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Sometimes I think we get a little intimidated by making small changes to patterns, but look, this is how we learn things. I cannot tell you how many shirts I've made with hidden pockets that had no pockets. I can't tell you how many dresses I made that looked great in photos, but y'all, there was a banana clip in the back because that dress was too big. We all learn and make mistakes along the way. Y'all, I made my child a dress out of PUL in the middle of the summer. But I kept sewing. I kept sewing, y'all, and I got better over time. And you will too. If you're a beginner, just enjoy the journey. Laugh at your mistakes. Take those pieces, that you messed up and just turn them into something else. Everybody needs a scarf, is all I'm saying. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I had a fun time hanging out with you. If you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and subscribe. Invite your friends to watch. We can all hang out, comment, have a good time. I'll see you next week. Bye, friends.